Hello, everybody. It's Stephen and Walter here for another episode of So Chatty, episode 65 for June the 30th, 2022. And for those of you that take note of these things, yes, we are on one day earlier than we usually are because tomorrow is July the 1st, and here in Canada, that is Canada Day. And we're going to a party, yay, to celebrate our 155th anniversary. Not ours, the country's, although there are days when it feels like it's ours. But anyways, I digress. Quite a look on that puss. Okay, what's Walter working on? Nothing.
Well, not really. Still working on my shorts. I haven't done anything to it at all this week.
Been busy week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had a urologist appointment, and then you had to sleep, and then you had to water the plants out on.
And I went out and bought a new garage door opener.
Oh yeah. Oh.
And I had to drive you to course of quilting.
Yeah. Because it's driving Miss Daisy.
And I had to make sure your tires were pumped up so that you could go to hair appointment.
Yeah, because you are my car mechanic. Yeah. Okay, so what's your story? This is what you're made for. Personal servant. Okay, but you get the glory of doing these things for me, really. I mean, isn't that reward enough? I strongly suggest you say yes. Yeah, right. I know you're not.
I'm still trying to figure out what you're good for.
As I said, I'm having a sale this week.
I don't know.
Take my husband,
It's not like
please.
I need another quilt.
Well, I need another shirt, but at the rate you're going.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
okay, never mind. Anyways, that's not what we're talking about today. So you have nothing to show us. Okay, that's not unusual. I do. I have projects. I'm always busy. So, well, this isn't really a project I have to show you. This is more or less things I bought. As Walter said, we went up to Quilting yesterday, and I went up there, first of all, just to pick up my 5-inch cube. More about that in a moment. But while I was there, I was kind of looking through their patterns, and I'm a pattern slut. I have all kinds of patterns. Literally, I have hundreds of patterns that have never been done because I see them and I go, oh, that's pretty. I'd like that, and I could use up, like in this one's case, strips. And it's by Cozy Quilt Designs, and I do love Cozy Quilt Designs patterns because they are the best written patterns of any that I have ever used. Never a problem with a Cozy Quilt pattern that I have found.
Oh, I'm sure you'll find one.
I could be the official tester for patterns.
Yeah.
I could find things that they never thought were possible. Yeah. But anyways, I thought this one's kind of neat. And, you know, I'm also thinking you could make this with leftover strips from jelly rolls from Christmas. Make a nice Christmas quilt. Christmas is always on my mind these days. And, or just use up some of those, you know, orphan strips you get out of a jelly roll or a package, you know, that you don't use them all up on. Whatever. When will I get to it? No idea. And then... okay, where's my thing? Here we go. So this was an impulse buy. Well, not yes and no, it was an impulse buy. You know the tiny little twister, the little twister rulers that allow you to do this pattern like they're showing here in this wreath. And I've talked about them before, and I have a couple of those rulers, and I've made a couple of things using them. Well, every time you see a pattern that they use one of these rulers for, always seems to be you need another size of the ruler. But I saw this a year ago hanging up in Kawartha Quilting, and I thought it was really cool. It's a lot of little pieces because the ruler that goes with it, or I don't know if you call it a ruler, the tool, I guess you call it a tool, is only about 3.5 inches in size. So basically this whole thing's made up of 3.5-inch squares. So there's a lot of cutting up, and I was looking at the pattern earlier today, and yep, there's a lot. I think there's 196 squares that you have to make. This is times like this when I'm really happy I have my AccuQuilt, and I actually have one die that cuts 3.5-inch squares. So this is good. So this may not take me all that long. It's not a huge piece. I forget what they said on the pattern, how big it was. It's sort of, it would look nice on a door at Christmas or as a wall hanging, but you could actually make it bigger, and you don't have to do it in Christmas colors. They call it Twister Holiday, but you could do it in fall colors or whatever colors you want. It would look nice like all year round. Make one for every season kind of a thing. Well, that's an idea. Will I get to it? Well, no. I will get to this one. I will make this for this year, but we'll see. But of course, I went to Kawartha Quilting to pick up the 5-inch cube block that AccuQuilt just came out with. They had it on sale for 25% off. I like how they write on the box. 14 free patterns at $25 value. Yeah, the patterns that come with this are pretty Mickey Mouse. And they're actually repeated in all the blocks. It's pretty much the same ones. So, yeah, that's just the company trying to sell you something for nothing. Make you think you have it. But anyways, I now have the 5-inch. So this means that I have all the cube blocks that they make. Well,
Right now.
the main ones. Yeah, right now. I mean, there's 12-inch, a 10-inch, an 8-inch, a 6-inch, 5-inch, 4-inch. Did I say 9-inch in there too? 12-inch, did I say 12-inch? Yeah, whatever. They claim they're never going to come out with a 7-inch. Yeah, I doubt it. They will. But and when they do, I'll buy it too. So they know it's coming. Maybe they'll come out with a 1-inch. Well, that would be itty bitty. But anyway, so yeah, I've got that. Now I can work on possibly down the road getting the add-ons for these.
They don't have a 3-inch, do they?
No, they don't. Not yet. Who knows? Who knows? But anyways, I have it. So that's that. Okay. So that leads me up to a couple of reminders. International Stitch Marathon, July 22nd. You're probably sick and tired of hearing about this from me because you want to know something? I'm sick and tired of reporting it, but I said that I would for the organizers. So all the details are in the show notes, including the Zoom link for it. And though, what I'm never sick of announcing, first Wednesday of the month comes up next Wednesday, July the 6th, and that means it's craft and chat time. So those of you that are on my mailing list will be getting your personal invitation probably tomorrow, by the weekend anyways, in your mailbox. But for those of you that have never joined us before or aren't on the mailing list, don't worry, you can still get involved with this. The link is in the show notes of all my videos this past week, including this one. And it's just fun. If you've never joined us before, you'll meet some new people. You'll get some ideas. You'll get some inspiration. You can get some help with whatever projects you're working on. Open to all creators, whether you do quilting or you do paper or anything in between. All are welcome to join for about 3 hours, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, running until approximately 4 p.m. Sometimes we go a little bit over that, but you can come and go as you please, how best it fits into your schedule. So hope to see you then. So that's this coming Wednesday, July the 6th. Did I mention it's this coming Wednesday, July the 6th? Did I mention that?
I think so.
Are you sure?
I think so.
Do you remember?
No.
No, that's what I thought. Okay, so on to the main part of the show today. Now, I'll be honest, I just came up with this idea today because I had no idea what we were going to talk about on So Chatty. And I asked Walter for ideas, and he didn't have any. Although he did come up with one, but it was late in the day. But we are going to get to that because it kind of fits into what I thought we would talk about. Now, you know that we both do, and me especially, a lot of machine embroidery projects. And since I have been lately talking about getting ahead on Christmas sewing and things like that, many of the things that I make have to do with Christmas decor or with gifts at Christmas time. Now, I haven't really gotten into what I'm going to be creating this year on my embroidery machine, but I have some ideas. But I thought I'd go over some of the past projects that I have done and show you where I get them from, what they look like, and talk a little bit about them. Because especially for those of you that might have been toying with the idea of getting an embroidery machine, but you're looking at it and you're thinking, will I ever use this?
Yeah, one thing, if you think about getting an embroidery machine, the first thing that you think of is just like basic embroidery.
Doing a monogram on a shirt pocket.
Or something like that. But they can do a lot more than that.
A lot more, as you're about to see. A lot of these projects look very, very complicated. They are not. They are not. However, they are time consuming. They can be a little pricey, although not that bad, really, in the big scheme of things. When you're buying the patterns for them or the files that go on your embroidery machine. But you'll get the idea as I go through this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, give me a second here. I have to get my screen set up so you can see this. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Get out of that. This is what I want to go to. Okay, and then I want to go over here. So what I did was I went on to Embroidery Online, which is owned by OESD. This is where I buy the majority of my patterns for embroidery. And there are other ones out there. In fact, they own two other companies that are part of them: Scissortail Designs and
Urban Threads.
Urban Threads. They have slightly different designs from each other. So, you know, just because you're on one doesn't mean that all the designs this company produces are all on that one site. It depends on what you're looking for. Like Scissortail Designs tend to be a little more, I don't know, I don't want to use the word juvenile, but a little bit more novelty kind of thing. And Urban Elements is a little bit more modern.
Threads.
Or Urban Threads, yeah, Urban Threads, get the right name. Fine, thank you for correcting.
Yeah, they're a little bit more modern stuff, and they tend to be a little bit more, they tend not to have as much freestanding lace. They have more actual embroidery patterns.
Yeah. But I mean, OESD, the one that we're going to rate now, does have a lot of different designs to choose from, like thousands, literally thousands. And you just go on, find what you want, put it in your cart, pay for it, and download it to your computer. And the thing is, if you ever need it again and you've misplaced it somewhere, it's always on the site for you to download again once you've bought it once. So that, in other words, forever, they stay there. So I went through my designs. You'll notice here at the top of the screen, there's a little thing that says My Designs, and that has a list of all my purchases over the time that I've been buying things from them. So I thought I'd go into some of the ones that I have made and just show you what they look like. Now, this is not a tutorial. I'm not going to tell you how they're made. Well, I might mention a little bit about that, but not in detail. But the beauty of OESD too is that with every one that you buy, you will get detailed instructions come right along with it. They're a PDF download. And in some cases, right on the site itself, they will have some video tutorials that will show you, you know, techniques that you can use for putting these things together. But as I said, the first time you do something like this, it may seem a little foreign to you if you don't have any experience. But once you've done one, the rest all work the same way, just different designs. So the first thing I'm showing here, this is one that I bought, I think 2 Christmases ago that I did. It's called the Freestanding Sugar Chalet. And didn't you do one of these too, or you did a...
No, I never did that one.
You never did that? Okay. This takes time. You can see that the price on it's $30. You might say, well, that's really quite pricey. Well, you have to remember, this is a 3-dimensional standalone design. This isn't something you're putting on a shirt, okay?
Yeah, and it's a pattern that you can use over and over again. Yeah. If you want to make 10 sugar chalets, you can make 10 sugar chalets.
Yeah. So. And you'll notice they have other designs as well, like this frequently bought together. They're showing this design. That one I also did. They have this one. I don't think I ever did that one. And if you buy this, you get a little bit of a discount, but not much by buying all 3. It's a sales ploy. However, you do notice there is a special tool. Do you need this? No. Do I recommend you get one? Yes, I do. This is called an alligator hemostat. And the way these things go together, if you look at this. Well, first of all, this is called an in-the-hoop applique or freestanding applique. And you need to put the pieces together. You do all these pieces separately. Like this is...
Yeah, each piece becomes a flat piece that you do. And then you assemble it all to make one.
Yeah, and you have what they call buttons and eyelets. And if you look here, I don't know how well this will show up on this screen, but if you look here, there's little knobby things that hang out. One piece will have like a little eyelet, and then this goes through the little eyelet. And you can pull them through with a pair of tweezers, but I find the hemostats that they're suggesting here work really well because they grip, and it's a fair amount of force to pull them through. Now, the whole idea of assembling this way is so that at the end of the season or whenever you're putting them away for storage, you can pull them apart again and lay them flat in a box or whatever. I don't bother with that.
Actually, personally, I don't think... once you've assembled one of these things...
You don't want to do that.
You don't want to pull it back apart again.
Because I'm not going to pretend here. They're a little bit tedious to make.
They're a little fiddly to put together. Too.
But once you've got it together, you'll be very proud of the end result. You'll be very happy you did it. But they are a little tedious. And what I often do is take a little bit of fabric glue and put on the end of each one of those little knobbies, and it dries clear. And that just secures things that much more with it as well. Now, they will put these on sale every so often. In fact, probably in about September or so, I'm not really sure, but when people are like, not like me, but real people who think about Christmas like more into the fall, that's when they'll often have sales on some of these. It'll only be maybe a 1 or 2 day sale. It's a good thing to get on their mailing list because you will get an email pretty much from them one every day, but they will let you know when something's on sale. And that's often when I'll buy these kind of things, because sometimes you get them for like $10 or 50% off. So it's worth it for that. But you will be very happy with the end result when you do it. Now, that's one thing. Now, another freestanding structure, this one I just mentioned, this is another one that's in that series. And lately, I think every year they come out with a new design in a gingerbread house. So, after so many years, you could actually make a little gingerbread village out of it. In fact, they do have something like that, but I'll talk about that one in a bit. And this one goes together the same way, just a little different design. And you're free to choose whatever colors you want to use in all of this. It is a combination of fabric and embroidery. So you notice this brown part is fabric, but this is embroidery on top. And that's why they call it a freestanding applique kind of thing, or in the hoop applique.
And it isn't really all that complicated to put together. So.
No. And as I said, they come with instructions, and the instructions are very clear. And I do think for most of these type of things, they have a general tutorial video showing you how to assemble.
Also, their instructions are pretty good, step by step.
Yeah, that's what I just said. Is there an echo in the room?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, fine. Notice you don't listen to me.
No, I don't.
No. Okay, now, you want something a little different? And now I'm talking about home decor, but I'm also talking about gifts. Something unique. This is a freestanding fabric bowl, they call it. There's actually several different designs that you can get with this, and the designs are basically based on whatever the decorative stitch is that's around this edge. But they work out really well. I've made 2 of these. They're really nice if you want to give them as a gift. They're fairly substantial. They hold up very well. You will need to use water-soluble stabilizer. You'll need to use stabilizer with all these projects, by the way. So the 2 most popular stabilizers for freestanding things are, well, most of the time you'll use water-soluble, but in some cases you might use cutaway as well, or tearaway stabilizer. This company does sell stabilizers, but if you're in Canada, you can't get it. They do not send any physical products. They will not ship to Canada. Not a problem getting the files, because the files are you download those. But if you want stabilizers, go to monfil.ca if you're in Canada.
Yeah, or you can buy them on Amazon too if you want, or your local embroidery local machine store may sell them as well. But be aware that they may be pricey, much more expensive. Yeah, Monfil, as far as we're concerned, has the best price on stabilizers. And we buy the stabilizers kind of in bulk, like in 100-yard rolls, because I go through a fair amount of it. That is one of the costs involved in making these things. Not just your pattern, but you've got your fabric. And oftentimes, many of these can be made with scrap fabrics, too. Mm-hmm. So it's a great scrap buster. And then you have your threads. As well, so you will need embroidery threads like Floriani, Isacore. Monfil sells their own brand they call Superb or Super, which works really well too. We love Monfil, and you've heard us talk about before. And there's actually a link in the show notes to Monfil as well. It's a Canadian company. It's in Quebec. Reasonable shipping, and if you buy over $100, you get free shipping anywhere in Canada as well. They will ship to the States though, and I think they're also very reasonable in that. So anyways, that's sort of a sideline here. But the fabric bowls, they're a lot of fun. And I'm noticing right now they're very trendy. Different styles of fabric bowls. There's different ways to make them. This is an In the Hoop project. People like to use them as they call them bowl cozies. They put a plain bowl in to decorate it up.
They're not really a thermal. They won't keep anything cold or hot because of the way these ones are designed, although there's ones you can make that will do that. Personally, I just think they look nice. They're great with some, maybe put in a little dish of candies in it, put some extra Christmas balls in it as a Christmas decoration on a table or something. Use it for a catch-all for other things. I mean, you don't have to make it for Christmas. I know some people make them to hold spools of thread in, or scrap fabric or whatever. They're not a bad size. I'm not exactly sure what the size is. In fact, I think you can alter the size. Most of these files will come in various hoop sizes that you can use depending on what your machine is and how big you want them. But I think they make a nice gift, especially for a lady. I don't know, gentlemen, you could wear it as a hat if you want to look like a dork. Okay, ornaments. They have tons of what they call freestanding lace ornaments. Now, they do not have any fabric in them. They are completely embroidery thread. Yes, they take a while to make, okay, because they are self-supporting. This is where you would be using your water-soluble stabilizer, because after you get it done, you just dunk it in a sink. The stabilizer all dissolves out of it, lay it flat. What I do is I put it between, when I take it out of my sink, and it's only in the sink for about 10 seconds or so. The stuff dissolves very quickly. I put it between 2 layers of paper towel, hit it with my steam iron on top a little bit just to flatten it out and also give it a boost in its drying. I let it air dry flat. It dries within an hour usually, and away you go. The more of the stabilizer is basically a form of glue, but it's in a, like, almost like a, I don't know what you call it, like a netting kind of a thing.
When you feel it, it's a kind of a thin netting type. Almost like if you sew clothes, it's almost like an interface.
Yeah.
And you use it as a stabilizer, and sometimes you have to use multiple layers of it, right?
Usually I use 2 layers in it. Depending on how many stitches, and that's a good point. When you get these files, you put them in your embroidery machine, it will come up and tell you how many stitches in total it takes, and it's usually tens of thousands. The general rule is for every 8,000 stitches, a layer of stabilizer, up to, I would say, a max of 4 layers. After that, it's just overkill. But if you only use 1 layer, now oftentimes in the instructions, they just say use 1 layer stabilizer. Don't trust them on that. 2 minimum, no matter how many stitches, because there's a lot of stitching going on over top of other stitches, and it pulls at the stabilizer. And if it breaks through the stabilizer, which it can do if you're only using a thin layer of stabilizer, it's going to just all get all tangled up, and you're going to have the world's biggest bird's nest, and you could have a problem with your machine as well. Ask me how I know. Okay. So yeah,
and you can reuse some of the stabilizer too. You can work it out so that it
yeah, you can layer your stabilizers. I used to do that a lot when I first got into this kind of, because stabilizer was expensive until I found Monfil, but it's still expensive too. You're not talking here $1.99 for 3 miles of stabilizer. Okay. So if you have bigger chunks of stabilizer, you can sort of, if you're going to use a couple of layers of stabilizer, well, you can sort of lay the bigger pieces, overlap them in your hoop, and when you put down your first level of stitching, just watch it so they don't get curled up, and then away you go. I tend to just throw it out now. I had bags of leftover bits and pieces, and I just couldn't be bothered.
Well, I was when I was doing some stuff last year, I layered quite a bit of it and was able to reuse a lot of it.
Yeah, well, you're cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
But well, it depends on what I'm doing with it. But yeah, some people complain that there's a lot of wasted stabilizer because, for example, something like this, you would have your stabilizer in your hoop. You will go with the smallest hoop that you can get away with. Your machine will tell you what hoop it's going to use. But you may have, this is in the center of the hoop, you may have a couple of inches of stabilizer all the way around this. So if you cut out the center, when you get it off the hoop, and you'll have like some bigger pieces. You can work with that as well, but you'll have to figure that out for yourself, what works best for you. But these are really nice. Also, with this water-soluble stabilizer, the more of it you rinse out, the limper your final product will be, and softer. But if you leave some of it in, it will, when it dries, it stiffens these up. Now, of course, if you were to wash these, and why would you? You wouldn't be washing these. But if you were to wash something repeatedly, then eventually there will be no stabilizer left in it at all. And that, depending on what it is you're creating, that's not going to be a problem. But if you want something that's a little bit stiffer, I only put these in the sink for about 20 seconds or so, swish it around, take it out, and then do what I said with the steam iron and let it lay dry. And they're nice and stiff, and they're great when they're going to be a Christmas tree ornament because they're going to stand up. But do you need to use them as a Christmas tree ornament? No, you do not. They usually come, if you notice on this picture, there's a little hole up at the top where you would attach your string or whatever you're going to do to put on your tree. But these could work as a decorative element to your packaging, to your Christmas gifts, you know, like a tag kind of a deal, something a little extra somebody gets to take with their gift. I have put them inside Christmas cards. I've taken glue dots and put a couple on the back of one of these and put these right on the front of the card. And I put a little instruction inside the card that says you can remove this because the glue dots will come right off, and use this as on your Christmas tree or something else. So it's kind of like you're sending them a card, they're getting a little gift at the same time. I make a lot of these, and they come in different designs. I especially like the free, what is this stuff called? Freestanding lace angels. They look really nice as well. And if you make them out of metallic thread, well, if you dare. Metallic thread's a little more difficult to work with in embroidery, but you can. They look absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, they have tons of these different designs on OESD. Now, speaking of angels, this is a project. I have made several of these over time in various sizes. They are spectacular. This is a freestanding applique angel. There is some fabric in this, but most of it is freestanding lace. You do it in pieces. They go together very easily, and they look spectacular. And they're a good size. They're actually, you could use them as a tree topper, or you can use them, like make them in various sizes, and you can put them around as a display. I've made them in white, in silver, in gold, in blue. I've given them away as gifts. There's one, I don't have a picture of it here, that is even more elaborate than this one. It involves some organza around the base of it, and it's actually the one I think they call the tree topper angel. It is spectacular, and I gave one to the neighbor a couple of years ago, made one. Again, take a lot of time. You can't do this on Christmas Eve and expect to have it done for Christmas Day. It's not going to happen. And the tree topper one tends to be a little bit more expensive than this one because it's much bigger and more elaborate. But again, watch for sales on it. Just do a search in the search bar for freestanding angel Christmas tree topper. I think that's what it's called. Now, bigger projects, much more time consuming. I have done this one. It comes out at Christmas time. It is a wall hanging. It's a form of quilt.
How big is that?
Final one is about, well, it's about the size of what's behind me over there, but the size of a little bigger than the, well, they can't see that because I haven't got it down. Well, yeah, down the thing. I think it's about 40 by 40.
Yeah.
Something like that. Again, size is adjustable to a certain degree, but this is made up of individual tiles, and you really can't see it in this picture. I don't know if this picture will show it to you better. Very difficult to see, but these are all individual panels. There is no fabric involved in this except for, no, there's no fabric in this. It's all embroidered. Extremely time consuming. This one will take you days upon days upon days upon days, okay, to do. But the end result is spectacular. I have done several of these in different designs over time, and I've got another one out right now that I might do for this year. But then you sew all of the tiles together, and it creates the whole picture. It also will do some of the quilting. This one I don't think has a lot of quilting to it, but some have more quilting. But you're not going to get the quilting all the way through because you don't do it like you would do a regular quilt. You can do stitch in the ditch though, to secure your backing to it. You do put batting in, but you put the batting in as you do each tile. So these are fairly pricey. Let's see, go back here. What are they saying? Yeah, $50. That's American, by the way. All these prices are American. But again, this is something they'll sometimes have a discount for.
And you'll probably need a lot of different colors of embroidery thread to do this.
Yeah, well, take a look. Down here, they're showing you what people have bought with it. They will have all the threads. OESD uses Isocore threads, which are a good thread. I use Floriani because that's what I started with, and that's what I've got hundreds of. But I mean, if you had a very limited selection of thread colors, and you want to stick to what they tell you which color to use, which is easier. Usually when I do these, I have to convert. I have a little app on my phone that allows me to find the equivalent color that they say in Isocore to my Floriani. But even then, it's not actually perfect, and sometimes I have to like figure it out for myself what I want to use. And that can be time consuming with it too. What I like to do is pull out all my threads that I'm going to use for the entire project. That takes me several hours in something this size, but then I know what to use each time it comes up for a thread change. I know what I'm going to use. I don't have to go searching for it. But you can see how many colors they're using in something like this. And they're saying $229.69 American.
So that's $50 for the pattern plus the rest of the cost of the thread.
About another $175 for the thread. But Isocore thread, if it's anything like Floriani, I pay $7 a spool Canadian for Floriani. So that's what, 5 something American. And I'm not sure, they don't tell you how many colors I think are involved here. No.
Yeah, it says their Starry Night thread kit is $179.70
for that. So
yeah.
I don't know how many threads are there. Well, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 times 3 roughly is 27. 27 goes into 179. What? Calculator. 179 divided by 27, approximately 660 American for each spool. Might be a little less than that. Works out. I don't know. With it, there might be more than that there, but yeah. So not cheap. But if you're somebody who has never tried something like this, but you do a lot of machine embroidery and you already have a lot of threads, you can figure out what colors you'll need for it, and just use what you've got as well with it. So, and of course, if you're in Canada, you can't order this kit. They won't ship it to you.
No, Canada. You can order the pattern, but you can't order the
well, the pattern's downloadable, that's why.
But the spools of thread you can't get.
It's not really a pattern. It is files that are read by your embroidery machine, and you get a PDF thing that shows you step by step what to do for each tile. But I'm telling you, they are well worth the effort, but I'm pretty sure you won't want to give it away as a gift unless it's somebody that's really worthy of something like this. I mean, really worthy. I have yet to give one of these away, just because of the time that it took. Now, if you want some fun things, you've got your novelty items. Freestanding, these are freestanding snowmen. Again, this is applique, combination applique and embroidery. And they usually come with several different designs in one set for $29.99. So you can see there's 3 different styles of snowmen on here. And you can have fun with the fabric that you pick, as well as the background fabric. And it does come with the nose and the eyes. You actually use your embroidery machine with that, and the hat too. Now, the first time I made one of these, I had a bitch of a time with the hat, but I finally figured out what the best way was for putting it together, and it worked out no problem. And even the little arms that look like twigs, those are actually embroidered pieces that you use. Again, you'd be using your water soluble stabilizer with this, but fun. And they're hollow in the bottom. And they're done purposely so you can put in a little LED tea light or LED light. I have ones that change colors and they're on a remote, they're wireless, and I put them up underneath it and they'll glow through there and change color, and it looks really cool with that. Now, this is another thing that you might want to make as a gift, but if you do, you got to start early. Not quite as involved as doing one of those wall hangings I just showed you. But this is a block, and you can see here a picture. They don't really have it in color on here, but you can do it in any colors you want. But this is the block that you will create, and it's all quilted. This is the quilting, and each one of these is a separate piece, and they're all done as a square. And what you're actually doing is, this is 1/4 of this block. So you make 4 of these, sew the 4 of them together, and you get the entire block that they show here. But then what you do is you make more of the blocks, you sew them together, and you can make a table runner, you can make a wall hanging, you can make a banner thing for your front door. You could make it into a very large piece because you're just making, it's like making a quilt. You're just, the more blocks, the bigger the final product. The first one I did in black and white, and I was using it as a table runner on my formal dining room table. I have since made one in Christmas colors for Christmas with it. And well, what do you think of them?
Yeah, I think they look really nice.
They do. This picture doesn't really give it justice, but they are really, really elegant. And again, you can pick any colors that you want with them, and the fabric you want to use in the background. Again, time consuming. But you can see the price on these is really good. $3.99. You only need that one to make whatever, because that's the basic 1/4 of the block. And it's just repeated around 4 times to make a block. And then you make as many blocks as you want. So really, price-wise, this one's cheap to do. And the end result is extremely elegant. Then if you like decorations for, say, you know, Christmas packages, or you want to make a Christmas corsage. I don't know if people wear Christmas corsages. Maybe old ladies do. I don't know. Kind of thing. Or you want to use these as a decoration on, say, a table, Christmas table or whatever. These are also freestanding applique. That's what FSA stands for. And really easy to make. Not expensive. You can make as many as you want. You could take several of these, put them all together, and make a Christmas wreath out of them. The more you make, you could string them all together and make them a garland, say in front of your fireplace or something like that. There's endless possibilities of how you can use these. You could even, with a little bit of ingenuity, you could probably make these so that you could use them as the base to a candlestick as well. A little bit trickier, but I think you could do it. So yeah, just your imagination is your only limit here. But very effective. And again, I have made these, and I have made them in red, I have made them in green, I have made them in gold and in silver as well, and with metallics as well in some of the stitches. So they look very, very spectacular. And if you look here, that's really what they've used in here. There's a little bit of metallic thread. Now this one I have never made, and I don't think I will, because it's like Elf on a Shelf, but of course that's copyrighted by the company that invented Elf on the Shelf. So they call it Bobbin the Elf. And it is a little stuffed doll-like thing. I guess if you have kids, it would be lots of fun with them. I have made some of their stuffed toys before, and they're very easy to make. They give you all the instructions, like everything they do. The only reason I'm not even considering making it is because I don't care. In fact, I find Elf on the Shelf extremely annoying. But if you like it, it's there. This I have not made. I have debated. This makes a little gift box. Freestanding lace. You do it in parts. Put it all together. Now you notice here, they've got it on sale right now for $10. I don't know why it's on sale right now. I'm wondering if this is one of the items that hasn't been really selling a lot. It's not a very big box. Great for holding maybe a piece of jewelry or something very tiny, or you could fill it with some candy or something, you know, a little hostess gift idea. And it comes with the little tag. You see the one that says Joy that goes right on it. You just put the ribbon in, but you notice how the ribbon goes on. They've thought about this. They have made slots in the side of the box for threading the ribbon through. So it's an elegant little thing. It's something a little different. People who don't do any kind of machine embroidery or even any kind of sewing would look at this and go, oh my God, that is beautiful. You are so talented. And you just go, yes, I am. I have made this. Love it. It comes out every year. Took some time. Santa and the Reindeer Sleigh. It actually, mine has, they're not showing the whole thing here. Well, that's a rotten copy of a picture they put on there. But you can make multiple reindeer, and I did. And let me get out of that. It's a little better. I fill it with the sleigh. I just put in some I bought at the dollar store these little things that are meant to stick in a pot. They're little gifts. Quit looking at your watch. You had somewhere to go?
No.
Well, stop it. We're coming to you in a moment.
I'm getting tired of listening.
Oh, you poor bugger. Whatever. Guess what? Santa's not coming to you this year. So, anyways, I go to the dollar store. I find these little gift boxes. They're on sticks. They're meant to be stuck into, a wreath or something like that. I pulled little boxes off and threw them in the sleigh. They look great. And the last, I have not done this. I would like to. It would take me years because every year they add to this collection.
Not only that, the cost of the patterns.
Yeah. Well, every year they come out with a new piece for their Winter Village collection. This is the complete 2021 collection because they still have ones for 2022 that they'll start adding to this in about September or so. And they usually come out with 2 or 3 or 4 new ones each year. It's an entire freestanding lace village that you're making. Now you can buy individual pieces for this as well. This one was all done in one color, and you notice down here they're showing you like stabilizer, the hemostats, and one color of thread, the white thread. But you don't have to stick to that. You could make them in any colors you want. You can mix up the colors.
You could do the Christmas trees in green if you wanted to, or something like that. Yeah. And the bridge or whatever in brown or something.
Yeah. And add it. And I know a lot of people are into the ceramic Christmas villages and that. I have one myself. It's not really a Christmas village, but everybody thinks it is. It sits out all year. But it is the time to make this and the cost. But, spread it out over the rest of your lifetime. Buy 1 or 2 each year kind of a thing and start now because it is going to take you some time. But they do look spectacular. But if you don't want to wait to add to your collection, if you buy them all instead of individually, if you bought them individually, it would cost you $539.82. They give you a bit of a discount, $449 American. Yeah, pricey. And as I said, they add to it every year. Okay, so let's go back here. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, like, you're just showing pretty much Christmas stuff. Yeah. But they also have designs for Halloween.
Yeah.
And other times of the year for other celebrations.
And we've made quite a few different Halloween things, and maybe later
like haunted houses and pumpkins
and all kinds of stuff. So maybe later in the year, in the fall or something, in September or that, when we're starting to think about Halloween, we'll show you some of the things that we have made with that. Walter's made some of these things too, so he knows of that of which I speak.
Yeah, and actually as a beginner, once you get the hang of doing the first one, it's really easy to do another one.
And they're kind of fun. But the one thing I find annoying about making them is after a while the novelty wears off and you're sitting there watching your machine. Now you can go off and do other things, but I always find that when I turn my back on my machine, that's when it's going to do something that it shouldn't do because it's lonely. I swear it has a mind of its own. So anyways, that brings me to the next thing. Walter suggested this today, and I think it comes into what we've been talking about already.
I mean, we've talked about it before.
We've talked about it a little bit, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on it because most people know this. But if you're thinking about making gifts and that, there is one factor that always has to be taken into consideration, and it's the cost to make things. Now, not so much us, the makers. We know how much these things cost, but if you're giving them as gifts, other people who don't do this kind of stuff have no idea what it costs. So For example, we were talking about some of these embroidery projects. Well, you've got the cost of the pattern, you've got the cost of the thread, you may have a cost for fabric as well involved in there. You have cost of maybe some tools that you might want to use with it, although that's, something that's spread out over across many items.
I mean, you could also include the cost of your embroidery machine, but
well, yeah.
You have that as a hobby.
Anyway, so. But the one cost too that I'm sure most people who make things are aware is the cost of your time. And that's priceless. Because if you were to actually try and work out an hourly amount for what you spend in this, whatever you have made, if you were to charge somebody for it, you would never get your money back on it. But that goes with anything you're crafting, right? Like our shirts. We have had many people say to us before, oh, it must be so nice to be able to make your own shirts and everything because it must be a lot cheaper. Oh, no. Oh, no. So tell them what it costs to make a shirt.
Okay. Well, it depends on where you shop, and it depends on what kind of material you use, right?
But in general.
Okay. I buy fabric and at a fairly inexpensive store. This stuff is usually quilting cotton that I use. The store we shop at sells it for about $15 a meter.
Which is really, really good.
Right? I need at least 2.5 meters to easily make one of these shirts, right? So 2.5 meters times 15,
that's 30, that's 37.50.
Yeah, okay. So around $40 Canadian just on material to use this. Then I have other materials that I use. I have buttons that I have to put on. I go through sewing thread with it.
What about stabilizer?
And
or interfacing?
I have interfacing that I put in, and that adds up after a period. I don't use a lot of it, but still I use it. And then there's my time. And
how long does it take you on average to make a shirt? And this is a trick question.
Yeah. If I really put my mind down to it, I might be able to do it in a 2-day period, probably. I'll go away.
That doesn't happen.
But like it's several hours to do a shirt. One guy said he averaged, but between the time of cutting the pattern, putting the pattern together, and all the other stuff, about 15 hours.
So. Oh, there's another price thing. Pattern. You have to pay for pattern.
Right. And these shirts I've made quite a few of them, and I keep reusing the same pattern over. But it's your time to sew it together plus your materials. So if you look at just the materials, this is actually, and the time, these are actually very expensive shirts. So,
well, basically, if you were to actually sell one of these shirts, I don't think $200 would be unreasonable to ask for it.
Yeah. So I personally never went out and bought $200 shirts before, but
no.
No. But yeah, I always kind of wanted to learn how to make a shirt, and only because one of the problems when you buy men's shirts anyway is the only thing that you have available to you is a lot of times checks and stripes.
Yeah.
And so if you want something a little bit more unique, you have to make it yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm just quoting you quilting cotton, but if you want to use a finer quality of cotton or not just a cotton or a poplin or something like that, the cost you have to consider how much the cost of the fabric is for the price that you pay. For instance, I'm in the process of making a pair of shorts that are silk lined. Well, those shorts, just in material at the end of the day, is going to cost me $150. So that's the most expensive pair of shorts I've ever owned. But
you don't really want to wear them, you just want to frame them.
So it's not cheap. And in fact, one of the ladies that was in my sewing classes that I take a sewing class with an instructor, one of the ladies in the class goes, well, the reason I got into sewing is because I figured that it would be cheaper to make my own clothes. And she's now found out that no, it's more expensive to make your own clothes. Now, the other thing you are able to do is you're able to make a
custom.
You're making a clothing that will fit your size.
Yeah.
right? Whereas sometimes in the stores, it's difficult to find your size
And fit your style too.
or fit your style,
You
right?
know,
So,
especially in men's clothing because
yeah, men's clothing can be kind of boring, and
yeah.
then when you do find something that's kind of unique, that's nice, you end up having to pay a lot of money for it.
Or it's in
So
slim fit.
yeah, or it's slim fit because
And we're
I
not
don't have a
slim
slim
fit.
fit body. So,
Oh, you don't?
um,
Oh, I
so
didn't notice
I
that.
mean, and it gives you the opportunity to make something unique. But the problem is that if somebody looks at it and think, "Oh, you made your own shirt, so that must be a lot cheaper,"
Yeah,
but no,
no,
it's not.
no, no. So, and I don't think, as I said, this isn't anything new to anybody who's a sewer, but it's new to the people
And
that don't sew.
it goes back with the quilting and everything too. A lot of people that don't do the hobby have no concept of how much it costs to purchase the fabric, the batting, the backing, and then all the time it takes to create a quilt.
And the quilting part of it, the thread for it, and the whole bit. All of that costs a lot of money. So this is when I use the term, are they quilt worthy? Are they shirt worthy? Are they embroidery worthy? Because you just don't want to give something like this as a gift to somebody who has no appreciation for it. Not just because of the cost, but more so that the time you put into it. We've talked about that before. But I just thought, you for those of you that are thinking about getting into machine embroidery, you might be a little shocked at how much it can cost you to make these things. But really, when you think about what it would cost to make other things, you can't make anything cheap. Okay? It doesn't matter. If you're going to use quality products, fabric, thread, it is going
Well,
to cost.
yeah, like one lady said, a couple of ladies said to me in the quilting retreat that we were there. I was doing some shirts, and the lady said to me, "Oh, what do you do with these?" I said, "Wear them."
Wear them.
And she goes, "What? Do you sell them?" And I'm going, "God, no, I don't want to sell them. They take too much of my time, and they cost too much of my money, and I'll never get my money back on it."
Yeah. Like, we don't do this as a business, because no, the only way that you can make it into a business
So
is
I
you have
know
to
that
open a
if
sweatshop.
somebody were to say to me they were able to purchase a custom shirt for like a tailored shirt for X number of dollars and start complaining about the money, I know I can turn around and say to them, "Well, you're getting it if it's like a $200 shirt, you're getting it at a bargain."
I would just say to them, in that case, just wear a plastic bag.
Yeah, like I
Because,
mean, you're not going to be able to get a tailored shirt for Walmart prices or even menswear prices or something like that.
but when you make your own shirts, there's one other benefit. I just thought of that. When he kicks off, I can take all of his shirts because he's made them from quilting cotton, cut them up, and make them into a quilt. I'll make him a
Well,
memory
yeah,
quilt.
actually, the other advantage to him is if I have scraps, I can give them to you. I haven't yet do that.
True. Yeah. No, well, I got a lot of scraps already. But anyways, just thought we'd bring that up. I know we're probably preaching to the choir about this, but there's a lot of people out there that have no idea when you give them a handmade gift, because handmade means, oh, it was cheap and fast. No, it was not. Um, just pick who you give these things to very carefully. Okay, so that's it for this week. If you have suggestions for topics you'd like to, we'd love to hear them, because as I said, every week I'm going, what are we going to talk about this week? And sometimes I'm really scraping it on the up the bottom of the barrel kind of a thing here. So I need suggestions, people. Please give them to us. Okay, so hope to see some of you at Craft and Chat this coming Wednesday, July the 6th, starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for the rest of you, for those of you that are Canadian, have a great Canada Day tomorrow. For those of you that are Americans, have a great Independence Day on Monday. And we'll see you all next week. Bye for now. Say goodbye, Walter.
Goodbye.